For most people about to embark upon the interview process, they will have worked out a lot of questions that they can learn to answer effectively. And that's good. But there is one overlooked area that very few people focus on. And yet it is that area that will set you apart from all the other candidates. So stick with me and I'm going to explain it on the other side.
All eyes on me.
Hi, I'm Jane. Welcome back to my channel. Please subscribe and like, and I really value your comments below. Let me know what you would like me to talk about in the world of communication and public speaking. Interview preparation. It is critical that we do effective interview preparation to ensure a great result. We can't just go in there on the fly. But often I find the one area that the interviewees neglect is the area of follow-up questions. Follow-up questions is the point at the interview when the interviewer will hand the imaginary microphone over to you and say, do you have any questions for us? That's your moment to shine. In that area, you can set yourself apart and make yourself memorable compared to the other candidates. A lot of people will say to me, well, I'm not really going to prepare follow-up questions because I'll see how the interview goes, what direction we go in, and if there are any gaps that they don't answer, I'll simply ask a question related to that. You can, that's fine, that's a technique, but you're letting that happen by chance. You're not preparing, and the result often is you fail. So by preparing, you are ensuring that you're really going to be elevating the whole interview dynamic between you and the interviewer. How do we go about doing this? We can, of course, go online and look up a bunch of follow-up questions, pick a few that really make sense, that hit home with us, and study those. Absolutely perfect. You probably need about 3 to 6 questions ready to go at the end of each interview. They're not going to give time for 6 questions. They're not going to ask you 6 questions. But if you prepare only 1 or 2, and those are answered in the actual interview, now you're falling back on thinking on the fly, and you don't want to put that to chance. You want to remain in control of your part of the conversation. So thinking you're going to just dream up questions on the spot is not advisable. If you do fall back on questions that you've looked up online and some you've created, that's wonderful. But where you really elevate, where the pro tip lies, is you need to become a detective and create questions that you can ask that will demonstrate cultural fit. Now, why do I say this? Because nowadays, all interviews are about cultural fit. They know all your skills from your resume, your CV. You've maybe gone through 1 or 2 basic interviews already, lower level interviews, and you have all the skills, maybe you and a handful of other people. Now they've got to the point where they're trying to find out, if we employ you, we know and respect your skills, your education, your experience, etc. But are you going to fit with our team? How are you going to blend in with the people here to add value to the team and enhance the whole experience for everybody? That's where you can ask questions that will demonstrate you are the right cultural fit. Easiest way to go about doing this, you need to become a detective. Go online and Google the company that you're applying at. They'll have a basic website. You can read the basic stuff they've got on the first landing page, and that'll tell you something about that. In fact, you should have done that before you even went in for the interview, so you have a working knowledge of the company. But now look across the top of the tabs and see if you can find areas like media coverage, work outside the company, opportunities, anything that's listed. It can have different names that will give you the story behind the scenes. So you go to the media page or one of the other tabs that indicates this is not about the main business, and you'll pick up a lot of information about what the company values. So you'll see, they hosted a golf day to raise charity funds for XYZ. Or they're very involved in this theatre and arts area where they sponsor things or they donate materials, time, merchandise, whatever it is. So keep going, look up all that information, just keep a track of it. Then look up the people's names in the mainstream of the company, potentially the person you work for, potentially the manager, CEO, etc. Look up them, look on their LinkedIn, find out, are they doing anything or posting or sharing about areas that is not the main line of their business. This person went to that college. They support this type of sports team. You're just gathering all this information so that you can also figure out, do I want to work at this company? Is this a company I'm going to be a good fit for? Because not only are they evaluating you, remember, you're also evaluating them. Is this right for me where I am in my stage of life? Once you've got all this information together, form 2 or 3 questions that really resonate with you and reflect what you've read about the company. So now you've got, say, a total of 6 questions. You've got 3 questions that are straight up finding out core information that is important to you. How are we evaluated or reviewed? What are the most important social skills that someone in this job should have? Things like that, the mainstream ones. Then prepare 2 or 3 that relate to what you've read. Now you get into the interview and they say, do you have any follow-up questions for us? And you can start off with one of the straightforward ones, and then you can say, by the way, I saw that the company gives a day off every month for charity work. The staff are allowed to go and do charity work. And I saw one of them you supported was Save the Animals. That's a real passion for me. Is that something I could potentially be involved in? Or you can say, I see they do an annual golf day to support ABC. I ran a golf day when I was in college. Is it possible I can become involved in that? That charity is important to me as well. You're trying to find the overlaps, remember? Because the goal of an interview is not just to repeat your resume. The interviewer knows that. The goal of the interview is to show who you are as a person, to build a connection to the other person, the interviewer, who is representing the company, the bigger company. Bringing in that personal angle, asking those questions that not only show you've done your research, but reflect a bit of your personality that you might not have been able to bring up. You probably wouldn't have included in a resume, and it might not have been brought up in the interview itself. But now remember, you're sitting in the interviewer seat and you can ask them about these areas. It's a simple, easy way to do it. It just takes a bit of time and dedication. But I guarantee the people who do that will stand out and be far more memorable than a lot of the other people lining up for that same position. This is all doable. I guarantee it works. So give it a try and come back. Tell us in the comments, how did it work for you? Or if you've got a great interview technique, absolutely add it in the comments and we can all learn together. Thank you as always for your time, and I'll see you next week.
All eyes on me. I shine with everything I do. All eyes on me.